He tried to explain a lot to Junwoo, but he didn't listen to the devil's words. Perhaps he didn't know him well. He said that a 30 to 32-year-old man can't harm a 45-year-old man, and then he did what the 45-year-old man never thought he would do. According to Jungkook's thinking, the knife was crawling on Junwoo's body like a snake, leaving its red marks. Lisa had only seen him like this once before, and after that, she stayed away from him for a month. He had offered to take her with him today as well, but she didn't come with him when she saw the knife in his hand. He not only cut the veins of Junwoo's hands, but also his whole body. He was writhing in front of him, dying, but he was sitting on the adjacent chair, smoking a cigarette. Listening to his screams, Devil felt a strange sense of peace. He had cut all his veins, but couldn't cut the neck vein, because he had only brought one knife with him. If he had brought one extra, he wouldn't have had to bear his screams for so long. On the other hand, Jungkook had left to pick up Sophia from the airport. Sophia had told him that she would talk to him in the corridor so that no one would recognize him, but Jungkook was regretting his foolishness, because he hadn't even asked Sophia for her picture. How would he recognize her? At least he had asked Sophia about the color of her clothes, otherwise, the devil would have surely not spared him today. He was using the knife today anyway. He was standing and looking around when his eyes fell on an innocent-looking girl who was quite scared and worried. She was wearing a sky blue floral print frock which reached her feet. There she is, Sophia. He quickly come towards her. You've arrived. I was worried about how I would recognize you. Well, did you bring the papers? Jungkook asked anxiously, because if there was any problem with the papers this time, the devil would not spare him. Yes, I've brought the papers, so you're my husband? She asked in surprise. Husband? Jungkook was shocked. She said she would address me in the code words at the airport, because she thought some people were following her. He remembered the conversation with Sophia on the phone. Husband, yes, husband, your home is waiting, at home. I've come to take you there, give me the papers. Jungkook asked for the papers, trying to compose himself. No, I'll give the papers to him only, she said innocently. You can trust me, I'm his loyal person. Jungkook said. No, I'll give the papers to him only. Jungkook thought that if he asked for the papers again, Sophia would start crying. The girl on the phone didn't seem to be the same. She was very bold and talented, but when she got into the car, YN was still very scared. Now stop acting, Sophia. There's no need to pretend anymore, Jungkook said, looking at her, while his sixth sense was warning him of something going wrong. What do you mean? YN asked innocently. I mean you don't need to be scared or worried anymore. Be yourself, and hand over that file to me. Jungkook was getting impatient. What are you talking about, Oppa? I don't understand, and I've already told you that I'll give this file to my husband. So why are you asking me for it again and again? YN said, looking at him with confusion, because his words were going over her head. Don't call me Oppa, Jungkook glared at her. I'm not saying anything, you'll be handled by the devil himself, he said, exasperated, and sped up the car. Meanwhile, YN tried to understand the meaning behind his words. Devil. Was this some kind of nickname for her husband? But what kind of name is this? She had never heard it before. Maybe they say it out of love, YN thought, and started looking at the clean and beautiful streets of Italy. Meanwhile, Jungkook was getting confused because she was talking to him very boldly on the phone, and now she was calling him Oppa. This girl was completely different from the one on the phone. Seeing the checkpoint on the road, Jungkook got very angry. His face was already tense, because Sophia was not talking to him straightforwardly, which made him very angry. He wanted to take her to Devil as soon as possible so that he could talk to her, and get the file from her, and then hand it over to him so that he could deliver it to Jimin. He was like that, whatever task Devil gave him, He tried to finish it as soon as possible, but because of this girl, he couldn't finish his task yet. His plan was to send Sophia home with his man and then go to jail himself, but that would only happen if Sophia gave him the file, whereas Sophia had to work with them next, which is why he didn't want any kind of mischief. And now, he was in a bad state due to anger. Yun had seen him get angry like this. Then, she picked up the water bottle from the car and said innocently, "Here, drink this water, your anger will cool down." He shouted angrily, "Shut up and sit quietly. How can someone act so much? Don't test my patience. Oppa, anger is like a burning wood that burns itself before burning others. Please don't get angry, it's only harming you. I know you're very busy, you have a lot of work, and I'm causing you so much trouble." Yun said. Jungkook was looking at her with amazement and confusion. "Wait, girl, listen to me, have you forgotten your memory? Look, if that's the case, please tell me, did you hit your head on something heavy? I'll take you to the doctor right now, but please, stop this useless and nonsense acting. If you do it in front of Devil, he'll shoot you straight away." Jungkook tried to explain to her patiently, "What are you talking about? I don't understand." Now, Yun was also getting frustrated with his nonsensical talk, and her eyes welled up with tears. Seeing her tears, Jungkook was taken aback and said, "Nothing, sister. Let's go home, the rest of the talk will be in front of your husband." "Okay," he said in a soft voice. As if accepting defeat, Jungkook looked at her innocent face again and said, "Okay, fine." She was looking very beautiful in white pants and a red shirt, with her lips colored with red lipstick. She was radiant even in her casual attire, and if she happened to wear dark colors, it would add to her beauty. And today, she had deliberately worn this color, because she knew she looked extremely beautiful in it. Anyway, she had to tell the girl who was coming that there was no one more beautiful than her here, and Devil was only hers. So, the girl who was coming could flirt with every boy who worked with them, but not with Devil, because only Lisa had the right to him. The car stopped at its destination, and Jungkook quickly got out of the car, while Yun followed him, looking confused and worried. Her eyes fell on the beautiful and delicate girl, Lisa, and she felt a bit relieved that there were girls here too. She approached Lisa and smiled slightly, but Lisa didn't intend to do the same. "Has Devil come back?" Jungkook asked. "Yes, he came just a few minutes ago. I went to tell him not to disturb him, he wants to rest, that's why I came out." "Okay, I'll go meet him, you come with me," Jungkook said, gesturing towards Yun. He said not to disturb him, Lisa emphasized, casting a scorching glance at Yun. "He told me to meet him as soon as I arrive, and you don't need to teach me my job, because only you disturb him here. The rest of us mind our own business." Now, Jungkook had to vent his anger on someone, and Lisa was the perfect target. Meanwhile, after such humiliation in front of the new girl, Lisa had turned red like her shirt. "Come on, Jungkook. I told you to do one thing, and you didn't even do that properly," Devil said, seeing Jungkook enter his room. "What do you mean? I didn't understand." Jungkook had only been told to bring Sophia from the airport, and he had done that correctly. Now, what was he talking about? "I sent a guard to pick up Sophia from the airport, the girl you brought is someone else." Just as Devil was about to clear up Jungkook's confusion, Yun slowly entered the room, taking in the scene. "What do you mean, this isn't the girl?" Jungkook said softly. "She has the file, she said she would give it to you." Yun stood close to Jungkook, who began to speak. Meanwhile, Yun's attention was focused on the man standing in front of her. They say that there is a lot of power in the 2 words of marriage, but from home to here, she hadn't felt anything about her husband, nor did she want to think about it. But now, it seemed impossible to look away from his face. He wasn't a prince, but one who could outdo princes. Sejin had said it right, A prince would come into her life. Today, she had finally believed that her fate wasn't as bad as everyone said. She should have been happy, but for some reason, tears started flowing from her eyes. He was standing in front of her, saying something, but Yun was lost in his beautiful face. Look, you shouldn't have come here, you came by mistake. You should have gone home, but don't worry, Jungkook will drop you off, he said softly, moving closer to her. But then he noticed that this girl wasn't paying attention to what he was saying at all. Are you listening to what I'm saying? He said a bit louder, bringing Yun back from her reverie. These papers. Yun didn't understand, so she quickly showed him the marriage papers in her hand. What is this? He was slightly confused, but took the papers from her hand. It was a marriage certificate, definitely belonging to the girl standing in front of him. Jeon Yun. He looked at her after saying her name. Yes. I couldn't understand how I would reach you. I was very scared, you know how big the plane was, she was telling him, opening her arms wide, while her whole body was shaking. I had never even sat in one before, and my hands are still trembling. She smiled slightly. What was she saying? She herself didn't understand. The man standing in front of her was her husband, he knew everything about her. So wouldn't he know that she was scared of traveling for the first time? But still, Yun's heart wanted to open up and tell him everything. She had suffered so much, been abused and beaten at every turn, for the past 19 years. This was her sympathizer, this was her own. She had to open up in front of him. She had to tell him about her heart's condition. That was her shelter, her husband, her everything. I am not scared anymore. Now that I found you, tears started falling from her eyes, but she still smiled looking at him. Oh, madam, what are you saying? Jungkook, who had been annoyed by her talk for God knows how long, couldn't give this misunderstanding any more air. Wait, Jungkook. You sit down, Taehyung signaled for Yun to sit. She sat down, wiping away tears and smiling. Have you eaten? He asked Yun gently. He had understood that this girl was very scared from the journey, and if he told her now that he wasn't her husband but a mafia, and she had come to the wrong place, she might get even more scared. That's why he was talking to her with patience. Tell God to bring something to eat, you eat comfortably, then we'll talk, he said softly to Yun, and went outside with Jungkook. Find out about this marriage certificate, and where this girl's husband is. Who does this? Sending a girl alone like this? Taehyung said. Yes, she's very scared, because of Devil. I'm talking to her strictly, he said, but then I thought, why am I being so harsh with this innocent girl? Devil himself is talking to her so softly. I'll find out about her husband. Jungkook said. Until then, we won't tell this girl that she's with strangers. And tell Lisa to stay close to her like a human being. It's not necessary that what we're thinking is true, this could be a trick by one of our enemies. Tell Lisa that if Sophia comes, she should take the file and go to jail. He patted Jungkook's shoulder and went outside. In just one day, life had started to seem so beautiful. Her husband was not only handsome, but also spoke with so much love. Here, everyone speaks in Italian language, but he was talking to her in her country language. How did her mother become so kind that she married her to such a beautiful man? Did she not think about her daughters back then? Or did she really want her well-being? She had seen the whole situation while lost in her thoughts. She felt like it was home, but the man who brought her food told her that this was not a home, but a workplace. There was nothing in the room to rest except for a chair. She sat in the same room where he had left her. She didn't even think about going back and forth. If she did something against her husband's wishes, and he got upset with her. She didn't even know him properly yet, so how could she convince him? He had said, "Eat and rest here, we'll talk when I come back." Lisa came inside the room. Yn turned around and saw the girl from the morning standing at the door, but now she was wearing different clothes. Yn smiled a little and gestured for her to come into the room. Lisa followed her. "What's your name?" Lisa asked with a smile. Yn also smiled a little. "My name is John Yn. I am Lisa and I work here." "How did your wedding happen?" "I mean, you didn't recognize your husband." Lisa had been asked to inquire about the girl, so she started doing her job. Taehyung had forbidden her from being harsh with her, because his intention was to get the girl safely to her home. "Yes, actually, the wedding happened over the phone. I didn't see him, that's why I didn't recognize him." Yn explained. Lisa was shocked. "You didn't even see his picture?" Usually, they ask the girl first if she's willing to get married, show her pictures, and talk on the phone. Lisa said. "None of that happened. I found out about my marriage just a day before it happened," Yn said with a smile, as if she was making fun of herself. "Okay, so it's an arranged marriage," Lisa said, trying to reassure her. "Yes, that's all," Yn said. "Can I get your passport and ID card?" Lisa asked, getting to the point. "Yes, I'll give it to you, but it's not real, you know that," Yn said, looking confused. "Not real?" Lisa was taken aback. "I don't know all that, only my husband knows, you should ask him," Yn said, handing over her passport and ID card, while Lisa quickly got up and left. "This means the girl came here illegally, and this husband of hers, Woo Bin, is not a real person in this city. I've also checked with the airport, and no girl with this name has arrived, and no one has come to pick her up from the airport. Otherwise, there would have been a report filed with the administration." Taehyung explained to everyone. "What's the name on the ID card, and where is her passport?" Jungkook asked Lisa. "Yes, I took it," Lisa replied, handing over the passport and ID card. "This seems like a game to me," Jimin said, who had just been released from jail a little while ago. The picture on the ID card was of Yn, but the name was different. "This is a game, but not with us, with this girl. Her family is also involved in this game," Taehyung said, explaining patiently. "So, you think her family sent her here?" Jungkook asked. "I also think so." "Well, Lisa, take her with you tonight," Taehyung said to Lisa. "No, devil, I'm going to the club and plan to stay there for a while. What will she do alone in my house? And it doesn't seem like she wants to come to the club with me," Lisa said worriedly. "Send her with me," Jimin said with a hint of mischief, but in a low tone, which Jungkook glared at, as if to say devil didn't hear that. If he did, he would have made a curry out of him. "What's the arrangement for the Sophia tonight?" Devil asked. "She's new, can't leave her alone, so I made arrangements for her in the warehouse. Her father also lives there. She says she wants to live where her father lives," Jungkook explained. "You can't keep her there either, there are weapons, maybe she'll cause some trouble when she sees them," Lisa said. "Can't take her to a hotel either, if the police get suspicious, it'll be more trouble," Jimin said. "Okay, she'll stay with me," Devil said after thinking for a while, and then turned to the three of them. "Why would she stay with you?" Lisa said, suppressing her anger. "Lisa, I'm not answerable to you, and I'm telling you this for the last time. She thinks I'm her husband, and if she goes anywhere else while I'm around, it'll cause more problems. I'm a sinful person, but I won't let anything bad happen to this girl, and I won't abandon her. I'll get her home safely. Until then, she shouldn't know what we do or who we are. Treat her like a human being, especially you," he said, looking at Lisa. "But she thinks you're her husband, Devil," she said, emphasizing the word husband. "Yes, but I won't consider her my wife. In my eyes, she's someone else's wife, and we can't clear up this misunderstanding until she leaves from here." If anyone finds out that there's an unknown girl staying with us, Inspector Sukjin will be the first to alert. He's already after us, just waiting for an opportunity. He's not looking at any of you, but at my one mistake, and I can't give him that opportunity. And if the girl finds out who we are, she'll go straight to the police. Taehyung said. I don't understand why Inspector Sukjin is after you. I've tried many times to shift his attention from you to me, but he's still looking for evidence against you. Why doesn't Inspector Sukjin say anything to us? Jungkook asked in confusion. Because if you remove all the leaves from a tree and throw them away, it will still grow new leaves. But if you uproot the tree and throw it away, it will become barren and all its leaves will wither. Inspector Sukjin's focus is on the tree, not the leaves. Taehyung the Devil explain. This novel is inspired by Urdu novel Ru-e Yaram. To be continued. Stay tuned for next chapter.